In the ever-evolving world of Marvel Comics, the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants stands out as one of the most iconic and formidable alliances of superpowered individuals. Since their debut in X-Men issue number 4 in 1964, the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants served as an obvious foil to Professor Charles Xavier's X-Men and his dream of a peaceful coexistence between mutants and humans. This dynamic has resulted in countless clashes, both physical and philosophical, punctuating the larger narrative of Marvel's mutant universe. The Brotherhood of Evil Mutants has been attracting mutants from all walks of life, each with their own motivations for joining the cause. Some are driven by a desire for mutant supremacy, while others seek revenge against a world that has shunned them. From iconic figures like Magneto, whose pursuit of mutant dominance is driven by his traumatic past, to the shape-shifting Mystique, who defies categorization with her enigmatic allegiances. The Brotherhood showcases a captivating lineup of characters. As we delve into the realm of mutant supremacy, the exploration focuses on 25 of the Brotherhood's most powerful and strong members, each with their own unique abilities, motivations, and moral compasses that has left a permanent mark on the Marvel Universe. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you, let's begin. Magneto, Earth 616. Max Eisenhardt, popularly known as Magneto, is the leader of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. He possesses one of the most complex and compelling backstories in the Marvel Universe. Born to a Jewish family in Germany during World War II, his childhood was marked by the horrors of the Holocaust. This traumatic experience shaped his perspective towards the world, as he witnessed the ultimate extent of human cruelty and the potential for the same being faced by the mutant kind. His adolescence marked the surfacing of his mutant ability to manipulate magnetic fields that granted him control over metal objects and electromagnetic forces. These powers are a manifestation of his mastery over the fundamental forces of nature, reflecting his desire to reshape the world to ensure the security and prosperity of mutant kind. Fueled by a deep-rooted fear of history repeating itself, Magneto developed a staunch belief in mutant superiority and dominance over their petty human subordinates that led him to establish the Brotherhood for the first time in Marvel's history. Sabretooth, Earth 616. Sabretooth, born Victor Creed, had a rough childhood suffering from abuse at the hands of his father. This environment fostered his inborn mutant abilities, superhuman strength, keen senses, and razor-sharp claws. His mutation granted him unparalleled physical qualities. His senses surpass any normal human, allowing him to track his targets over huge distances. His retractable claws, which resemble those of a jaguar, are dreadful weapons capable of slicing through almost any material. These powers, when combined with the incredible endurance as well as a regenerative healing factor, make him an almost unstoppable force during combat. His bloodlust intensified during his growing years, leading him to a life of crime and mercenary work. His savage nature, as well as rivalry with his brother, Wolverine, further intensified his brutal reputation. Creed eventually crossed paths with the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. The Brotherhood's radical philosophy advocating mutant superiority resonated with Creed's belief in his own supremacy. The group's aims aligned with his desire to exert control, leading him to unleash his feral instincts without any restraint. Thus, he became a loyal member of the Brotherhood, embracing the solidarity that it offered while indulging in his sadistic tendencies. Mastermind, Earth 616. Jason Weingard, also known by the name of the enigmatic mutant Mastermind. His powers operate on an unprecedented level. He can tap into the deepest recesses of a person's mind, conjuring illusions that are vivid and utterly convincing. These illusions can manipulate emotions, memories, and even sensory experiences, making his victims perceive whatever Mastermind desires. His illusions are so convincing that the other person won't be able to help but react to them as if they were real. He can use his powers to also change his appearance by casting illusions, to the extent where he doesn't even sound like himself. He was recruited by Magneto during this time as a carnival mentalist into the original Brotherhood of the Evil Mutants, to help the latter assert dominance over humans by the mutants. Specifically, he also helped Magneto to replace Lorna Dane's memory of him being her father. Instead, she was made to believe that her parents died when she was a child. Juggernaut, Earth 616. Cain Marco, the Juggernaut, was born to Kurt Marco and Sharon Xavier, making him the stepbrother of Charles Xavier. Growing up, Cain suffered from feelings of neglect and jealousy towards Charles, as his father abused him and favored his stepbrother over him. These insecurities laid the foundation for Cain's future transformation into Juggernaut. Cain eventually joined the U.S. Army, which led him to find the Crimson Gem of Sidorak during a mission in Korea. This gem channels a mystical energy that grants him superhuman strength, durability, and unstoppable momentum once he starts moving. The gem's enchantment also protects him from physical and mystical harm, rendering him nearly invincible. However, due to the gem's mystical origins, Juggernaut remains vulnerable to psychic attacks and manipulations, a weakness that has been exploited by both heroes as well as villains over the years. Juggernaut joined Exodus, incarnation of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, for a brief period of time, as he was spying on the team on behalf of the X-Men.
Bottoms up.
Mystique, Earth 616. Mystique, also known as Raven Darkholme, possesses one of the most enigmatic and intriguing backstories in the Marvel Universe. Born a mutant with the ability to shapeshift and mimic any appearance in the late 19th century in a remote village in Germany, she became an outcast in her own community due to her unique appearance from a very young age. Her early life was marked by loneliness and isolation, pushing her towards a life of deception and manipulation. Under the guidance of the enigmatic mutant known as Destiny, Irene Adler, Raven embraced her true identity and adopted the name Mystique. Mystique formed the third incarnation of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, the name being a nod to Magneto's Brotherhood. The first task of the group was an assassination attempt of the anti-mutant Senator Robert Kelly as a means to intimidate the public. Raven's powers are deeply tied to her genetics and mutation. Her cells possess a unique composition that allows her to alter her physical appearance, even down to her voice and fingerprints. This exceptional adaptability allows her to become virtually anyone, making her a master of deception, infiltration, and manipulation. It's through her abilities that she navigated a complex web of relationships, sometimes posing as allies or enemies, all while concealing her true identity. Her shape-shifting powers, combined with her cunning and ruthlessness, made her a formidable asset to the Brotherhood's cause. Nathan Gray, aka X-Man, Earth 295. Nathan Gray, also known as X-Man in Earth 295, is the genetically altered son of Scott Summers and Jean Grey, both being prominent members of X-Men. This combination makes him a genetically powerful mutant with telepathic, telekinetic, and reality manipulation abilities. He could reshape matter, manipulate energy, and even manipulate time and space on a scale that only a few could comprehend. Nathan is also a psionic being, with his consciousness forever existing in the astral plane and no longer being affected by the limitations of the physical world. This allows him to turn himself into energy at will at any point in time, which he can use his energy blasts too. This also lets him possess the bodies of other people. The psionic energy can also form into an armor over his physical body as well as into weapons. Nathan joined Havok's Brotherhood of the Evil Mutants for a brief period of time to aid them in rescuing Aurora.
You don't know what you've done.
Scarlet Witch, Earth 616. Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, and her twin brother Pietro, Quicksilver, were born in the fictional Eastern European country of Sokovia. Their childhood was marked by tragedy as their parents died during a mob raid. Experiments were conducted on them by the High Evolutionary, which granted them their mutant powers. Her powers played a pivotal role in her journey with her reality-warping abilities, referred to as hex magic, enabling her to manipulate probabilities, alter reality, and create chaos. Wanda's powers are deeply intertwined with her emotions. Her reality-altering abilities originate from her chaos magic. Her emotions and mental state can significantly influence the extent and controls of her powers, making her a formidable but sometimes unpredictable force. In her early comic appearances, Wanda and Pietro joined the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants after being saved by Magneto from mob violence, and the feeling of indebtedness making them join the Brotherhood. However, over time, Wanda's moral compass began to sway. leading her to question Magneto's extremist views when he was ready to let Pietro die as collateral while trying to kill the X-Men, as Pietro was imprisoned by them at the time. Wanda's trajectory took a significant turn when she realized the destructive consequences of her actions within the Brotherhood. She ultimately parted ways with the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants and joined the Avengers, seeking redemption and a path toward heroism. Her time with the Avengers allowed her to harness her powers for good and develop strong connections with her teammates, especially Vision, with whom she developed a deep and complex romantic relationship. Quicksilver, Earth 616. Quicksilver, also known as Pietro Maximoff, is the twin brother of Wanda Maximoff, aka Scarlet Witch. Pietro's powers alongside Wanda's were a result of the experiments that were conducted on them by the High Evolutionary. He possessed accelerated neural synapses, granting him reflexes and thought process that operated at an astonishing pace. This, combined with the enhanced metabolism and powerful leg muscles, allowed him to achieve superhuman speeds, enabling him to run at hypersonic velocities and effectively making him one of the fastest beings on Earth. Quicksilver also joined the Brotherhood alongside his sister, the Scarlet Witch, after being saved by Magneto from the angry mob attack. Pietro and Wanda became key members of Magneto's group, using their powers to carry out various criminal activities and terrorist acts. However, as time went on, Quicksilver began to question his allegiance to the Brotherhood's radical ideologies. His concerns grew as he realized the destructive path Magneto was leading them down. Eventually, Quicksilver and his sister had a change of heart, renouncing their affiliation with the Brotherhood. He, along with the Scarlet Witch, decided to seek redemption by joining the Avengers and striving to become heroes. Alpha the Ultimate Mutant, Earth 616. Alpha, also known as the Ultimate Mutant, was born with extraordinary powers that surpassed even the most formidable mutants. Alpha's origins remain shrouded in mystery. His incredible abilities include reshaping reality, telepathy, telekinesis, and energy manipulation, as well as control over cosmic forces, making him one of the most powerful mutants to ever exist, and a potential force to be reckoned with. His telepathic abilities extend beyond communication to mental manipulation, granting him unparalleled influence over minds. With telekinesis, he can manipulate matter at a molecular level, making him nearly omnipotent. Created by the leader of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, Magneto, Alpha initially took the side of the Brotherhood and helped them fight the Defenders, which included and helped them take over the United Nations. But soon, his rapidly evolving mind, with the guidance from Professor X, allowed him to see the errors in the Brotherhood's radical methods, and as a punishment for lying, he turned the whole Brotherhood into crying babies by reversing their age. Havok, Earth 616. Havok, aka Alexander Summers, is the brother of Scott Summers, Cyclops, and the older brother of Gabriel Summers, Vulcan. All three brothers were born as mutants. Alex lost his parents during a Shi'ar Empire attack on his whole family, after which he got placed in an orphanage with his brother Scott, while Gabriel was taken away by the Empire. Alex and Scott were then experimented upon in the orphanage by their future enemy, Mr. Sinister. Seeing the potential of Scott, Mr. Sinister got Alex adopted as a way to separate them and also replace the late son of the adoptive parents. His powers consist of ambient energy conversion and plasma generation. He can absorb, convert, and project this energy in the form of powerful plasma blasts, often visualized as concentric rings of energy. His powers also make him immune to heat as well as radiation, and can also be used for fight and to breathe in space after absorbing energy. He joined the Brotherhood, led by the evil scientist Dark Beast, after being brainwashed, but later went on to reveal that he did so to keep a close eye on the activities of the Brotherhood, especially of Dark Beast. Toad, Earth 616. Mortimer Toynbee, better known as Toad, has a lesser-known backstory. Abandoned by his parents at such an early age that he hardly has any memory of them, he was soon experimented on by Amanda Mueller for the Black Womb Project and was labeled as a rejected mutant due to his apparent flawed genetics. He was soon placed in an orphanage where he got bullied due to his physical appearance and ability to leap. This resulted in him facing a lot of difficulties in his studies, and he was concluded to be mentally challenged, even though he had a high intelligence level. The Toad's skill set includes superhuman leaping, strength, stamina, agility, as well as durability. He also possesses a flexible bone structure, regenerative healing, prehensile tongue that extends up to 30 feet long, with the ability to release flame, secretion of pheromone, acidic saliva, paralytic resin, as well as control over amphibian life. Toad was saved by Magneto during a lynching in Manchester and was one of the first members recruited by Magneto for the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, and was even given the alias by the Master of Magnetism himself. Even though considered strong by Magneto, he was primarily ordered around and was expected to execute them without question. Soon, the continuous mistreatment by Magneto led the Toad to let the former die, following an encounter with the X-Men and the Avengers. Soon, he went on to create his own Brotherhood, which he led after continuously being used as a pawn. Blob, Earth 616. Frederick Dukes, also known as the Blob, had his mutant powers starting to show up around the time of puberty. Describing himself as nothing more than quoting him, an extra strong freak, he used his mutant powers as a performer in the carnival. He was recruited by Professor X during this time to join the X-Men, which he refused, though soon his memories were wiped out. Blob's primary power includes becoming virtually immovable as long as he remains in contact with the ground. This particular skill granted him superhuman strength and durability. He is also essentially immune to any kind of pain, can induce implosion, redirect projectiles as well, and alter the shape of his body to a limited extent, along with the extending his limb and taking a liquid form. The Blob was recruited in the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants on 3 separate occasions, initially by Magneto when he restored the Blob's memories of the X-Men, but he left the group after being betrayed by Magneto when he chose to attack the X-Men with the Blob on the way. Later, he again joined the Brotherhood as a separate unit, but that too was taken over by Magneto to help him out with the creation of Alpha, the ultimate mutant. Later on, he was recruited by Mystique for her new Brotherhood, though he worked as an independent member who was only affiliated with her group. Pyro, Earth 616. Pyro is the alias of Australian author St. John, who can primarily control fire as a mutant. Having his powers manifest around puberty, he only used them in case of severe emergencies. Unable to use his powers to make a profit, he kept on changing jobs until he became a journalist who covered Vietnam and Indonesia for a wire service based in Australia. He was soon inspired to start writing novels due to his travels, which found a large readership in the English-speaking countries, despite being hated by renowned authors as well as critics. Pyro's powers can easily be understood from his name, as he's able to control external sources of fire, which is called pyrokinesis. He can also solidify fire to an extent, and is also immune to it. Pyro started using his alias when he joined Mystique's version of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. He continued as a federal agent when the Brotherhood got rebranded as the Freedom Force for the government, essentially pardoning the members for all their crimes. Dark Beast, Earth 295. Henry McCoy, also known as Dark Beast, is from the alternate timeline of Earth 295 and earned his powers after experimenting on himself for 5 long years. His alias was initially earned due to the ruthlessness of his experiments. Post the events of Twilight of the Age of Apocalypse, he was stuck in Earth 616 while suffering from partial amnesia. Dark Beast went on to create his own Brotherhood of the Evil Mutants that lasted only for a short duration. He was again recruited into the Brotherhood by his longtime nemesis, Havok, though the latter revealed himself to be a double agent later on, and tried to put an end to Beast experiments once and for all, though he managed to escape the infiltration. Dark Beast's powers include the usual superhuman strength, stamina, agility, reflexes, and durability. Along with this, he also possesses accelerated healing, pheromone manipulation, and claws as well as fangs, similar to his Earth 616 counterpart. However, his power skills remain a state of flux due to his continuous experiments on himself. The Shadow King. Multiverse. The Shadow King, a recurring villain in Marvel's multiverse, originates from the human consciousness dark thoughts. coming into existence due to the first nightmare. He possesses a vast amount of psychic energy, allowing him to manipulate and possess individuals across various dimensions, as well as allowing him to be indestructible unless being attacked by a magical artifact in his astral form. His evil deeds span different realities, as he thrives on negative emotions and uses his shape-shifting abilities to adapt to different hosts and environments. Shadow King usually appears in the body of his most commonly known host, mutant Havok, who controls individuals by feeding on their shadows in their souls. In Earth 616, he used Havok's body to meet journalist Harper Simmons and gave him proof of the X-Force assassinating people, convincing the latter to reveal the existence of the X-Force to the general public. He then showed to be affiliated with the new Brotherhood of the Evil Mutants during this time. Destiny. Earth 616. Irene Adler, also known as Destiny, was born visually impaired to a wealthy family in Salzburg, Austria. At the age of 13, her precognition powers manifested and allowed her to see possible futures. She had started writing a series of diaries in the duration of 13 months to cope with the overwhelming nature of her visions. By the end of the 13 months, she became completely blind. Along with Mystique, Destiny formed a new Brotherhood of the Evil Mutants after both of them realized their shared desire to change the world using their powers. They started working for a pro-mutant agenda. Later on, when the Brotherhood was reformed into the Freedom Force, she was killed by Legion, who was being controlled by the Shadow King at that time, but survived inside his consciousness, later moving on to Limbo. Avalanche. Earth 616. Dominikos Petrikis, aka Dominic Petros, also known as Avalanche, was born on the Greek island of Crete. He possesses the power to summon strong seismic waves just from his hands that can break through the inorganic matter, resulting in earthquakes around the local areas. Being the witness to the murder of several mutants at the hands of humans made him realize the extent of their ignorance and forced him to live this life while hiding his identity as a mutant. Mystique recruited him to her new Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, hoping to get his help in assassinating Senator Robert Kelly, who wanted mutants to come out from hiding and register themselves formally. He left the Brotherhood temporarily, only to return during its rebranding to Freedom Force, during the missions in which he often clashed with the X-Men and the Avengers. Mimic. Earth 616. Calvin Rankin, also widely known as Mimic, was the son of a scientist who executed dangerous experiments. Even though restricted, his curiosity got the better of him, resulting in him sneaking into his father's lab where he accidentally breathed in a red gas after he knocked down an experimental chemical from a beaker. Soon he gained the power to mimic the skills, knowledge, along with the mutant powers of anyone and everyone around him due to the incident. He even gained the powers of some of the original X-Men, like Cyclops' Optic Blast, Angel's Wings, and many others. He joined Mystique's Brotherhood of Evil Mutants when they teamed up with the X-Men to break Professor X from jail, who was arrested for the crimes he committed as Onslaught. Later on, he stayed back with the Brotherhood in San Francisco to support them in their fight for the rights of mutants. However, he parted ways due to the disbandment of the team. Exodus. Earth 616. Exodus was a 12th century French nobleman whose mutant powers started showing up when he was to battle in the Crusades. His powers were further enhanced by Apocalypse, leading to Exodus being the former's champion. He was forced into a coma in a tomb for 1,000 years as punishment for disobeying Apocalypse when he was asked to murder his friend, the Black Knight. Exodus, being one of the most powerful mutants to ever exist, possesses a wide variety of powers. He possesses telekinesis that allows him to have intuitive aptitude, multilingual skills, create force fields, and concussive as well as electromagnetic blasts. His telekinesis also allows him to make constructs, heal others, fly, teleport, as well as enhance his own strength by 100 tons, which also increases when others or he has faith in himself. As an empath, he can also manipulate, sense, and control others' emotions and sensations. He also has the power of telepathy that gives him a heightened sense of awareness, the power to create illusions, and total control as well as alter others' minds, causing mental paralysis as well as amnesia. He can also create psionic blasts and shields, along with feeding on the psionic energy of others. He can also astral project, retain large amounts of information quickly, can heal quickly due to his aging that has stopped, and possesses superhuman durability. Exodus' renewed belief in the supremacy of mutants, and them being the rightful heirs to inheriting Earth, resulted him in forming a new Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. His plan of attacking a group of humans were prevented by the X-Men, and later on their plan to execute the X-Men in their mansion ended in a disaster, where the whole Brotherhood was sucked inside the head of mutant Xorn. Sauron. Dr. Karl Lykos, also known as Sauron, was an impeccable Argentinian hypnotherapist. He was bit by a giant pteranodon as a child in Tierra del Fuego, while saving his then-friend, later-turned-wife, Tanya, from the attack of the same pteranodon. After the death of his father, he would move in with Tanya and her father, Dr. Anderson, who also saved his life when Karl was bitten. This bite forced him to absorb the life force of other living beings to keep himself alive, which then triggered his transformation into a pterodactyl. The transformation then gives him the powers of superhuman strength, flight, hypnosis, telekinesis, fire breath, energy blasts, and mutant power absorption. Sauron was recruited by the Toad to his Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. The Toad used a special device that was designed by him to drain all of Tanya's life force, and then using it to transform Karl into Sauron. Sauron agreed to join the Brotherhood only as a courtesy to the Morlock named Thorn in an attempt to kill off Farrell. Elixir. Joshua Foley, also known as Elixir, joined an anti-mutant group led by Donald Pierce, the Reavers, at the request of his then-best friend Duncan. It is during one of the Reavers' missions that Joshua discovered his healing abilities, as he healed a fellow Reaver but hid it by knocking out the latter to protect his mutant status. He was later kicked out of the group after his powers were discovered when he was forced to heal Laurie Collins, who was severely injured. He was then beaten up brutally by his team at his home, and was disowned by his parents when they found out about him being a mutant. Elixir's powers include healing that renders him to be virtually immortal, as he's able to resurrect himself from the death. He can control his own biological structure, but also of other people's bodies to a genetic level. He can not only detect, but also transfer life force, can detect genetic abnormalities in other bodies, and kill others by genetically giving them illnesses, swellings, as well as organ failure. Elixir was recruited in the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants by Magneto when he reformed the group after the latter wanted to protect the mutant kind's survival. Black Tom Cassidy, Earth 616. Thomas Cassidy, also known as Black Tom Cassidy, was a rival to his cousin Sean Cassidy, who goes by the alias Banshee, for the love of Sean's deceased wife, Maeve Rourke, before their marriage. Following her death, their animosity was revived and the revelation happened about Thomas secretly raising Sean and Maeve's daughter, Teresa. He also befriended as well as worked with the Juggernaut on multiple occasions. Thomas's powers include being able to create blasts of brute force or heat by using wood. Following his genetic engineering, he was able to generate blasts using his own body as it was grafted with a substance similar to wood. His secondary mutation gave him the power to manipulate wood as well as plant-based life forms. He can also control the ecosystem of the living island of Krakoa. Thomas fought the X-Men as part of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Ultimately, he got trapped inside Xorn's head and was sent to the Mojoverse. Xorn, Earth 616. Kuan Yin Xorn's mutant power ignited his head with a tiny star, a feat shared by his twin brother Shenzorn. He had to live in isolation due to his power's dangerous nature and was made to wear an iron mask due to it. His warden sold him off for the harvesting of his brain to John Sublime. He later tried to commit the act of killing himself by reversing the power of his star but was stopped by Cyclops, who encouraged him to join the X-Men. Under the influence of the drug called Kick, Xorn started believing that he was the late Magneto and started teaching the latter's ideology over Professor Xavier's to his special class. The special class was then recruited by Xorn into a new Brotherhood of the Evil Mutants to attack the people of New York City. Xorn was able to control magnetic fields, allowing him to impersonate Magneto. He could also kill by igniting light from the star, control gravity fields, and survive without breathing or food and water. He could also heal wounds, sense death, as well as float in the air. Mesmero. Vincent, also called Mesmero, went through a lot of abuse as a child at the hands of his father. Soon, when his powers began to show themselves, he manipulated his father into leaving the family. Vincent's powers allow him to tamper with other people's memories, creating illusions and control more than one person at a time by just looking into their eyes to hypnotize them. Mesmero formed his own Brotherhood of the Evil Mutants by hypnotizing the other mutants into joining the team and helping him in his mission. His team was soon dissolved once the hypnosis was broken by the X-Men. Enchantress, Earth 616. Amora, who also goes by the name of the Enchantress, is a goddess known for her ethereal beauty through different times and eras of Ragnarok. Amora possesses supernatural powers of sorcery, being an Asgardian goddess. Her strength, speed, stamina, durability, agility, and reflexes are of a superhuman level. She can also heal herself from injuries quickly, and her powers enhance her beauty to the extent of mesmerizing others. She joined Lady Deathstrike's sisterhood to gain back access to her powers by breaking the Odin Force. Marvelous verdict. The Brotherhood of Evil Mutants stand as proof of the multifaceted nature of Marvel Comics storytelling, showcasing the depths of human emotion and societal conflict through the lens of mutant existence. Throughout its iterations from its inception in the 1960s to its various resurgences, the Brothers have evolved as a diverse assembly of mutants with a common goal: to challenge the status quo and assert mutant supremacy, led by the iconic figures such as Magneto, Mystique, and even the Scarlet Witch in certain storylines. The Brotherhood's motives have ranged from legitimate grievances against human oppression to outright terrorism. The Brotherhood has also played a pivotal role in some of Marvel's most iconic storylines, including the mutant-centric Days of Future Past and House of M arcs. Their presence consistently challenges the X-Men's beliefs, forcing them to grapple with the moral complexities of their own existence. As the comics have progressed, the Brotherhood's depiction have become more nuanced, delving into the characters' motivations and inner conflicts. This evolution mirrors real-world struggles for civil rights, enabling readers to empathize with even the most antagonistic characters. Their exploration of the mutant struggle, moral ambiguity, and the fine line between heroism and villainy has complemented the Marvel Universe. Whether seen as antagonists or anti-heroes, their legacy continues to captivate readers, making them an integral part of Marvel's storytelling. As the comics continue to evolve, it is certain that the Brotherhood will remain a compelling force, forever pushing the boundaries of what it means to be a mutant in a world that fears and misunderstands them. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.
Right on.